Hey there, welcome back to the Easy English Listening Zone. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Emma. It's so good to have you here with us today.
You know, Emma, today feels a little different. Usually we dive straight into tips and tricks, but today feels a bit like a confession. We're talking about a specific personality type, a specific struggle that I think a lot of us are hiding.
Oh, absolutely. It's that secret battle we fight in our heads. We're talking about that strange, frustrating contradiction. Being deeply ambitious, yet feeling incredibly lazy.
Yeah, the magic combination, right? It's painful because it's not that you don't want it. You want the success. You want the business, the fitness, the fluency. But when the alarm goes off or when you sit at your desk, suddenly your bed feels like a magnet. Or you open YouTube for inspiration and 3 hours later,
3 hours later, you've watched 5 videos on how to be productive, but you haven't actually produced a single thing.
that hits close to home. It's painfully accurate. But listen, if you are nodding your head right now, I need you to know something. You are not broken, and you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dismantle this. We aren't just giving you a list of chores. We're going to figure out how to work with your brain, not against it.
Exactly. So let's paint a picture. I want everyone listening to close their eyes for a second, unless you're driving, of course. Think about that one big goal you have. Maybe it's launching that startup, mastering English, or getting into the best shape of your life.
You can see it, right? You can visualize the future you. Successful, confident, totally in control. It looks perfect in your head.
But then reality hits. You wake up on a Tuesday morning, ready to be that superstar, and what happens? You suddenly remember you need to clean your desk or check your email. Or, my personal favorite, you decide you need to make a detailed plan for the plan before you can even start.
The pre-planning plan, I know it well. And that is exactly where the trap opens up. We get so obsessed with the preparation, with the idea of the goal, that we never actually take the first step. We look at the size of the dream and we freeze.
It's a paralysis. It's like standing at the bottom of a massive mountain. You look up at the peak, which is miles away, high in the clouds, and you think, there is no way I can climb that today. So what do? You say, maybe I'll climb it tomorrow.
And tomorrow never comes. So before we fix this, we have to understand the science of why. Why do our brains sabotage us like this? Why do ambitious people struggle the most with laziness?
It's actually a biological instinct, Ethan. Our brains are wired to love big dreams because they release dopamine. They make us feel good just thinking about them. But our brains hate big effort. When a task feels huge, your brain perceives it as a threat. It sees all the thousands of steps required, gets overwhelmed, and shuts down to protect you.
That makes so much sense. It's a defense mechanism. Imagine I told you right now, speaker 2, go run a marathon, 42 kilometers, right now, no warm-up.
Oh, I'd feel exhausted just hearing the sentence. I'd probably quit after the first 100 meters.
Exactly. That is how your big goals feel to your subconscious mind. It sees the distance between where you are now and where you want to be, and it feels impossible. So instead of running, you stay in bed and scroll through TikTok because it's safe.
So, step 1 of our recovery today is shifting that perspective. We need to stop looking at the marathon. We need to stop staring at the peak of the mountain.
Right. And this brings us to our first major psychological trick. This is something I've started doing, and it's honestly changed my life. It's about how we write our to-do lists.
I love this one. It sounds a bit crazy at first, but hear us out. Usually we write lists like a drill sergeant. Do this, study that, clean this. It's demanding.
It's stressful. It's a list of everything you haven't done yet. So here is the trick. Instead of listing a million things you need to do, I want you to write about your day as if it has already happened.
Wait, let's clarify that. You mean pretend you are a time traveler from tonight?
Exactly. Wake up in the morning, open your journal, and write in the past tense. Instead of writing, I must study for 2 hours, you write, I sat down, put on my headphones, and studied for an hour. It flowed easily, and I felt so proud of myself afterward.
That is such a subtle but powerful shift. You're not creating a demand, you're creating a memory of success before it happens. You're telling your brain, hey, look, we already did it. It wasn't that hard.
Precisely. It tricks the mind. When you use the past tense, the brain stops seeing the task as a scary looming mountain. It sees it as a completed action. It removes the resistance. It makes the productivity feel effortless because you've already visualized the relief of finishing it.
I tried this yesterday, actually. My normal list would have been go to gym, finish report, clean kitchen. Just looking at that makes me tired.
It looks exhausting. But I wrote, I went to the gym for just 30 minutes and the movement woke me up. Then I finished that report. It was actually easier than I expected. And I even had time to wipe down the kitchen.
And how did that feel?
It felt doable. It felt kind. It made me want to make that story true.
That is the key word, doable. You're giving yourself a vision of success, not a list of demands.
But Emma, I know what some of our listeners are thinking. Okay, Ethan, I wrote it down in the past tense, but I still don't want to get off the couch.
The advanced laziness, I know it well. If that happens, you're still thinking too big. You need to shrink the world down.
Shrink it down. If a full day narrative is too much, write just one sentence. Just one sentence. I finished my work project today and it felt great.
Visualizing that relief is a powerful drug. But what happens when the task isn't just overwhelming? What happens when it's just plain boring?
Ah, the boredom trap. That is a whole different beast. And that is exactly what we are going to tackle next. We're going to talk about how to gamify your life, how to turn the most boring spreadsheet into a game you actually want to play.
Ooh, I love that part. Stay tuned because in the next segment, we're going to teach you how to trick your brain into thinking work is actually playtime. You won't want to miss this.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we've already admitted that writing "run a marathon" on your to-do list is a terrible idea. We're rewriting our days in the past tense to trick our brains into feeling successful.
But now we have to deal with the elephant in the room. What happens when you trick your brain into starting, but the task itself is just mind-numbingly boring?
Oh, the boredom wall. That's real.
It is, because let's be honest, if something feels boring, we will do anything to avoid it. But if it's fun, we'll do it for hours without even noticing the time passing.
So the secret here isn't discipline. It's gamification. It's about making work feel like play.
Exactly. People think work is work, it's supposed to be hard. Not necessarily. Ethan, think about cleaning your apartment. Worst task ever, right?
Absolute worst. I dread it.
But what happens if you blast your favorite playlist while you do it?
Oh, totally different game. Suddenly, I'm a cleaning superstar. I'm dancing with the broom.
That's it. That is gamification. Small changes like music, a change of location, or even just a really good cup of coffee can make a boring task actually enjoyable.
I love that. I actually use this for studying or writing scripts. I turn it into a speed round. I set a timer for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, and I challenge myself, how much can I possibly finish before this alarm goes off?
Yes, like a race against the clock.
Exactly. It adds this little adrenaline rush. Or I set a reward. If I finish this email, I earn a coffee break. It stops being forced labor and starts feeling like a game where I'm leveling up.
I love that mindset. Stop forcing yourself to work. Just trick yourself into playing.
But Ethan, there is another trap I fall into. I use these tricks, I get started, I'm having fun,
and then I stop.
Ah, the unfinished task graveyard.
It's terrible. I'll start a project, feel super productive for an hour, then I lose steam. I tell myself I'll finish it later. But later never comes. And the worst part is that unfinished task haunts me. It sits in the back of my mind, making me feel guilty.
You know, there's actually a name for that haunting feeling. It's called the Zeigarnik Effect.
The Zeigarnik Effect. That sounds intense.
It's a psychological phenomenon. Basically, our brains hate open loops. Once we open a door, our brain desperately wants to close it. It's why when you start a Netflix show, you physically have to finish it, even if it's 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh, that explains my entire weekend. My brain just couldn't let the story stay unfinished.
Exactly, and we can use that addiction to closure to our advantage. The trick is, don't aim to finish. Aim to start.
Wait, explain that.
If you tell yourself, I need to finish this report, your brain panics. But if you say, I will write just the first sentence, you are opening the loop.
And because of the Zeigarnik Effect, once that loop is open, my brain will naturally push me to close it.
Bingo. You write one sentence and your brain goes, well, we can't just leave it like that. So you write a paragraph, then a page. Before you know it, you're done. It is way easier to convince yourself to do one small thing than to commit to the whole mountain.
That is so sneaky, and I love it. It takes the pressure off. But okay, let's play devil's advocate. What if I am doing things? What if I'm starting tasks, checking boxes, running around like crazy, but I'm still not actually achieving my big goals?
Oof, now we're talking about being busy versus being productive.
This is my biggest struggle. I have days where I am super busy, answering emails, organizing files, color coding my calendar. I feel exhausted by 5 p.m. But if you ask me, what did you actually build today? The answer is nothing.
It's like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're working hard, but you haven't moved forward a single inch.
So how do we get off the treadmill?
We need a filter. We need the Eisenhower matrix.
I've heard of this. It's the 4 boxes, right?
Right. Imagine a box with 4 squares. Every task in your life falls into one of them.
Square 1 is important and urgent. These are fires, deadlines, emergencies. Do them now.
Square 2 is important but not urgent. This is the sweet spot. Learning a language, working out, long-term business planning. You have to schedule these or they never happen.
And then we have the dangerous ones. Square 3, urgent but not important. These are things that scream for your attention but don't help you, like random emails or other people's meetings. You should delegate these if you can. And square 4, the delete box.
The delete box. Neither important nor urgent. Mindless scrolling, binge-watching random videos.
Wait, are you telling me my 2-hour research session watching productivity videos on YouTube falls into category 4?
Emma, if it's not actively helping you execute your goal, it's just a distraction disguised as work.
That hurts, but you're right. We fill our time with busy work because it feels safer than doing the important work.
Exactly. Prioritization isn't about doing more. It's about ignoring the stuff that pretends to be urgent so you can focus on what actually matters.
Work smarter, not harder.
Precisely. But there is one final hurdle. Even if we know how to prioritize, even if we know how to gamify, there is a deep, dark fear that stops us from even trying.
Perfectionism. The fear of being bad at something.
That's the big one. And in our final segment, we're going to talk about why you need to embrace being terrible at things and how to start thinking like your future self today.
You won't want to miss this. It's the mindset shift that ties everything together. Stay with us.
Welcome back for the final stretch. We've covered how to start by tricking your brain, and we've covered how to turn boring work into a game. But Emma, there is one last barrier, and honestly, it's the heaviest one.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. Is it the fear of failure?
It is, but let's call it what it often really is. Perfectionism. That hits home.
Sometimes I avoid doing things not because I'm lazy, but because I'm terrified I'm going to mess them up.
Exactly. We tell ourselves we're just procrastinating, but really we're paralyzed. I'll be honest, I hate being bad at things. If I try something new and I'm not instantly good at it, my instinct is to just quit.
I'm the same way. I remember I wanted to learn guitar. I bought one, learned 3 chords, sounded terrible, and thought, well, clearly I'm not a musical genius, and put it in the closet.
And that is the trap. Perfectionism makes us lazy because it sets the bar so high that we can't even reach the first rung. We think if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. So how do we fix that?
We have to flip the script. The goal isn't to be good, the goal is to be willing to be bad.
Right. We need to embrace being bad at something.
So you're suggesting I should go out and fail on purpose?
Oh, let's see Lou.
Literally, yes. Pick a hobby where you have zero intention of being good. Just do it for the chaos of it.
Okay, I like the sound of chaotic cookies.
Exactly. Bake cookies that taste weird, draw stick figures that look like aliens, do some really bad dancing in your living room. When you give yourself permission to suck at something, you stop fearing the result. You start enjoying the process.
That is actually so liberating. If I can be bad at baking and still have fun, maybe I can write a bad first draft of my report and just fix it later.
Precisely. When you stop fearing failure, you start taking action. And action is the only cure for laziness.
Okay, so I'm baking bad cookies and I'm writing bad drafts. I'm moving forward. But Ethan, how do I make sure this lasts? How do I stop myself from sliding back into my old lazy habits next week?
This brings us to our final and perhaps most powerful trick. It's about identity. You need to stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, who do I want to be?
This sounds a bit like time travel.
In a way, it is. We call this thinking like your future self.
Okay, walk me through this.
Imagine the version of you that has already achieved your goals, the fit Emma, the fluent Emma, the CEO Emma. When you were faced with a choice, like should I work out or watch TV? Don't ask what you want to do. Ask, would my future successful self skip this workout?
Ooh, that's a guilt trip, but in a good way. My future self definitely wouldn't skip it. She's disciplined.
Exactly. When you ask that question, your brain starts to align with that identity. You aren't trying to exercise, you are acting like a fit person.
So how do we make this practical? Do we just imagine it?
We write it down. I want everyone to try this exercise tonight. First, write down your current daily routine. Be honest. Include the scrolling, the napping, the procrastination. Second, write down the routine of your future self. What time do they wake up? How do they work? How do they speak?
Okay, so if my future self wakes up early, works with focus, and finishes projects without getting distracted, I can look at that list and see the gap.
Exactly. You compare the two lists, and then this is the key. You don't try to change everything at once. You just pick one small habit from the future list and start doing it today.
That is brilliant. You're bridging the gap one brick at a time. Instead of waiting for a magical moment to change, you just start acting like your hero today.
And eventually, you don't have to pretend anymore. You become that person.
Wow, I feel ready to take on the world. But before we let everyone go, we need to make sure they have the language tools to talk about this.
That's right. Let's bring in our vocabulary expert, Charlotte, to break down the key words we use today. Charlotte, what have you got for us?
Hey everyone, it's Charlotte. You guys dropped some serious wisdom today, but you also used some fantastic vocabulary. Let's make sure our listeners can use these words in real life.
Let's hear them.
All right. First up is ambitious. This describes having a strong desire to succeed. An example, Sarah is very ambitious. She dreams of becoming a doctor one day.
We definitely have a lot of ambitious listeners here.
I'm sure we do. But next we have the enemy of ambition, procrastination. This means delaying or postponing tasks, usually until the last minute.
An example, Jake's procrastination made him finish his assignment at 3 a.m.
We've all been Jake at some point.
Definitely. Next is instinct. This is a natural reaction or behavior that you don't have to think about. An example, when she heard the loud noise, her first instinct was to run. In our episode, we talked about how our instinct is often to avoid hard work.
So true. What else we got?
We have accomplished. This means having successfully completed something difficult. An example, after months of training, he finally accomplished his goal of running a marathon. And finally, let's talk about delegating. This is crucial for productivity. It means assigning tasks to someone else instead of doing them yourself. An example, a good leader knows the importance of delegating tasks to their team.
Perfect list, Charlotte. Thank you.
My pleasure. Use these words this week, everyone. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Charlotte. Those definitions really help clarify things.
Well, Emma, we've covered a lot today. We went from being overwhelmed by the mountain to baking chaotic cookies all the way to becoming our future selves.
It's been a journey. And hey, if you're listening and you want to keep this momentum going, don't forget we have a free PDF for this episode.
That's right. It's not just a transcript. We've added comprehension exercises, grammar practice, and a summary of all these productivity hacks. It's the perfect way to make sure you actually apply what you learned today. You can grab it from the link in the description.
And if this episode helped you, even just a little bit, please hit subscribe and share it with a friend who might be struggling with that ambitious but lazy feeling.
We're all in this together. Remember, your brain wants to be lazy, but you are in charge. Work with your brain, not against it.
See you next time on the Easy English Listening Zone podcast. Bye, everyone.